to the Wandering Star Farmhouse. My name is Jeanette, and in today's video, I wanted to share with you a week worth of meals that we have been eating of things, well, including things that we have produced here on our homestead. So we're not quite to the main garden season harvest yet. So we don't have any meals that are like fully from our homestead right now, but I'm gonna share just one meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, show you what we were eating this last week. Now it is mulberry season and the wild mulberries on our property are producing. And the way that you go collect mulberries is lay out sheets and give the branches a nice big shake, and the mulberries will fall down onto the sheet. And this is how we collect a whole bunch of them in order to cook with and use. Mulberries are not found in grocery stores because they're very soft berry, but they're an awesome thing that we have here on the farm to use fresh. So the first meal I want to share with you is a breakfast meal, and I've got these bread cubes that are from some homemade bread that I made the day before that didn't turn out quite like I wanted. So I've just basically cubed that bread up, and I'm going to add some mulberries. Then I'm going to take some delicious farm fresh eggs and crack up a bunch of these. I don't do any of this by recipe. I do it based on, how many I'm cooking for. So we have a family of 8. So at a minimum, I would use like 10 eggs for something, and sometimes up to maybe an egg and a half per person. Add a little bit of milk and whip that up. Pour it over the bread, and if you can let it sit for a little while to kind of soak up some of that egg, that's really best. Then I sprinkled it with cinnamon sugar on top and baked it for about 40 minutes. Now I had more mulberries, and so I decided to make some mulberry jam. And the jam recipe that I've been using lately is in my mom's old blue book, and it's just the basic berry jam recipe with no pectin. And it just requires a lot of boiling to get it down to get it to come to its own gelling temperature. In most of the berry jams that I've been making this spring, I have not been pureeing them like this, but the mulberries, because they have the kind of center core, they hold their shape really well even after cooking. And in order to have a better jam texture, I went ahead and pureed them. And that actually had the added benefit of letting some of the seeds loose, and they would kind of gather around the edges. And so I was able to remove probably about half the seeds, but I left half the seeds in. We don't want a completely seedless jam, but look how great this turned out. It holds its shape. It takes about 30 or 40 minutes of boiling to get it to come to the gelling point like this, but we enjoyed that as a snack on some homemade sourdough bread. Something else we have coming in from our garden right now is garlic scapes. And today I'm going to use some of those and make a kind of spread to go on top of some chicken. It's almost like the same way you would make a pesto, but it's just with some olive oil and lemon juice and salt, and make this spread to go on top of chicken. We roasted that up with some vegetables and some more garlic scapes and enjoyed that. Now I have these beans that I harvested from my garden last summer, and I have not made anything with them, and so I wanted to go ahead and use those. So it's always a good idea to start by rinsing beans, get off any dust or dirt, make sure there's no little rocks or bits in with it. And then I am cooking that up with some onion and green pepper just from the store, and some sliced smoked pork jowl from our pig that we sent off to the butcher this spring. Let that all boil until the beans are soft. Add any additional salt after the beans soften. The boiling will take more time the older the beans are. We had that on top of rice with some collard greens on the side and some homemade cornbread. And I've been meaning to do this for a while. When I made this cornbread, I mixed up 2 more batches of the dry goods for the cornbread. So now I have kind of a cornbread mix sitting on my pantry shelf for the next couple times I want to make cornbread. We have delicious strawberries coming in from the garden right now. It's a decent harvest this year, but not as big as it'll be next year. And so I decided to take these strawberries and use it with some rhubarb that my husband had bought from the store, and I made some strawberry rhubarb jam this day. We didn't end up eating this day, but we will definitely enjoy this in the future. Like I said, I've been making sourdough bread. I kind of on again, off again with the sourdough bread. And today I decided to make sourdough pizza crust for sourdough pizzas for dinner. We still have about a dozen jars of tomato sauce from all that I canned from our garden last summer, but most of them at this point are actually just plain tomato sauce, not the ones with the Italian herbs. So luckily, my greenhouse herb garden is back in full swing, and I put in some thyme, sage, chives, and oregano. I did 100% sourdough crust, and I've just been enjoying working with the sourdough lately, although it has definitely gone through a transition as the house has heated up this last month into the summertime, and I've been having to keep a closer eye on it and feed it more regularly so that it doesn't go hoochie. But everybody loves Friday night pizza night. This is leftovers from yesterday's lunch. A couple of tortilla shells, taco shells, and then just a little bit of ground beef and cheese and some cabbage. There's more cabbage. Jeremy already dumped the rest of the chopped cabbage over here, and he was sauteing onions, and now he's adding some garlic.
I like to take a little bit of it.
Mix that all together to cook the eggs. Sprinkle a little bit of cheese on top. And then we sprinkled some leftover olives. Finally, we had to end the week with some of my homemade mulberry crumble bars. This recipe is on my blog. I'll put a link in the description so you can go get a copy of this recipe if you want. It's like a raspberry crumble bar, but using the mulberries that are just readily available this time of year. The last recipe I wanted to share with you was just a quick breakfast scramble that it's actually using the leftovers of that chicken with the garlic scape spread on top. And Jeremy just chopped up the chicken and the leftover roasted carrots, fried that up with some potatoes, and fried some farm fresh eggs to eat on the side of that. So we are really excited. The garden is just about to start producing like crazy. We have a bunch of little immature peas that are growing. We are going to get to start harvesting soon. I need to do a garden tour, so look for that video to be coming out soon. And then also I'm going to be doing a video on a really fun beautification project that we're doing on the homestead this summer. So hit that subscribe and we'll see you on the next video.
Peas are yummy.
Peas are yummy.
I want to eat. I want to eat. I'm hungry.
Okay, here's one.